The construction COVID-19 rapid response task team, which involves numerous associates and professionals in the industry, is calling for an immediate reopening of live construction sites which were forced to shut down when the lockdown came into effect. The task team's John Matthews says construction work would recommence under strict health and safety measures as an essential service. Matthews says South Africa's construction sector, which provides employment to millions of people, is facing irrecoverable damage.
Because of the no work situation, we have a lot of employees that are not generating income, and that in itself is also a problem. And then we mustn't forget about our professionals and everybody within the value chain, suppliers, upwards and downwards, and will continue to be hugely affected, even though we are suggesting that we have a staggered approach in terms of opening up the industry.
Moving to the Northern Cape, a man is appearing in the Priska Magistrates Court today for allegedly trafficking a female victim from Gauteng to the Northern Cape. It's alleged the suspect recruited the 22-year-old victim last month under the false pretense that she was going to get a job in Priska. Hawk spokesperson Nomthandazo Mnisi says the woman claims that after she arrived, she was locked up inside a house, raped and continually assaulted.
On Saturday, an operation was conducted by the Hawk Series Organized Crime Investigating Unit and arrested a foreign national for trafficking in persons.
Nisi says investigations are still ongoing. Moving further afield, President Cyril Ramaphosa's envoy to Lesotho, former Minister Jeff Radebe, says he's meeting with security chiefs in that country as part of his final assessment of the situation. Radebe went to Lesotho a day after the country's Prime Minister, Tom Thabane, deployed the army. Ntakwana Ngatane reports.
Yesterday, President Cyril Ramaphosa's delegation met the divided four-party coalition government, civil society and diplomats amid more calls for Prime Minister Tom Thabane to step down. Former Minister Jeff Radebe says he will have a better assessment of the situation later today.
Of the chiefs of security here in Lesotho, as well as the feedback meeting with the Prime Minister, as well as His Majesty the King, that able to make some observation or assessment of what is happening and our own recommendations.
Embattled Prime Minister Tom Thabane is facing murder charges for the killing of his second wife, Dipulelo. He has repeatedly tried to fire and suspend the police commissioner, but the court ruled against him. The Constitutional Court also found that his decision to suspend Parliament was irrational. In his statement, Thabane said institutions are abusing the courts, freedom of speech and human rights. Ntakwana Ngatani, Eyewitness News.
And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have announced that they will no longer cooperate with British tabloid newspapers because of what they call distorted, false or invasive stories. The couple has written to the editors of The Sun, The Daily Mail, The Daily Express and The Daily Mirror, saying they refuse to offer themselves up as currency for an economy of clickbait and distortion. In the letter released today, the couple says that although they believe that a free press is a cornerstone to any democracy, they will have zero engagement with the newspapers. The Duchess is suing the Daily Mail's publisher, Associated Newspapers, over a 2018 article that included portions of a letter that she had written to her father. A hearing in the case is due to be held later this week in a London court. Gold is trading at $1,682.31 an ounce. The rand's at 18.81 to the dollar, 23.44 to the pound, 20.43 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $26.26 a barrel.
Well, traffic remains very slow on the N3 North in the Bedford View area approaching the Giruli's turn-off. And there is also a slight delay along Main Road in the Bryanston area just as you approach William Nicol Drive.
It's a partly cloudy day in Gauteng. The temperatures have peaked at highs of between 23 and 25 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. 2 Pick n Pay staff members at Alex Mall have tested positive for COVID-19.
Eyewitness News, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, log on to ewn.co.za or ewn.mobi.
For all you need to know about COVID-19,
stay tuned.
Welcome to the newsroom from the BBC World Service. I'm Nick Myers. Millions of labourers and farmers in India are being allowed out of lockdown and back to work. But it won't ease the hardship for many.
This is a very difficult time for farmers like me. Because of the lockdown, nobody is buying my fruit. This is the most difficult time of my life. How will small farmers like me survive?
Also today at midday GMT.
This is our first best biological shot on goal against this very challenging disease.
Could blood plasma be the answer to finding a treatment for COVID-19? And later in the programme,
even though it's very hard to think about countries outside of your own at the moment, we do have to sort of try and spread the goodwill to those that have nothing.
That is the British actor and filmmaker Idris Elba launching a new UN fund to help poorer nations deal with coronavirus. You're listening to the BBC World Service.
BBC News. Hello, this is Jerry Smith. Millions of people in India are being allowed to start working again from today, as new guidelines allow state governments to ease coronavirus restrictions. In some areas, farmers and other agricultural workers can now get back to normal. John McGivering reports.
The new guidelines are designed to ease pressure on farmers and protect India from food shortages. More than half the country's workforce is involved in agriculture, and many are now back in the fields. Many migrant labourers will also get paid again as some government-led projects resume. But the situation varies from state to state, with some chief ministers saying they're not easing restrictions at all yet. That includes Delhi, Punjab and Tamil Nadu. And even within states, districts with a lot of cases, often in the cities, are also staying locked down.
The daily number of coronavirus deaths in Spain has fallen below 400 for the first time since the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic on March the 11th. From Madrid, Guy Hedgecoe reports.
Spain has been seeing a steady drop in the number of daily deaths since the beginning of this month, when at one point 950 victims were reported. Today, that figure has fallen to 399 deaths over the last 24 hours, the lowest figure since March the 22nd. The government wants to extend the lockdown, which has been in place for 5 weeks, until mid-May. But with the number of daily deaths and new infections now apparently stabilising, it's planning on lifting some restrictions before then. Next week, children under the age of 13 are expected to be allowed outside, albeit under strict conditions.
Iran has lifted restrictions on road travel between its provinces as the country continues its phased ending of measures imposed to fight the virus. The authorities have also allowed shops in bazaars and malls to reopen. But businesses where people crowd together, like restaurants, must stay closed, along with schools, universities and mosques. The tiny city-state of Singapore has reported nearly 1,500 new coronavirus cases, its biggest daily increase. Almost all the new infections are on foreign